Alrighty. What is going on, everybody? This is your boy Bernie here, giving you yet another live stream here on the channel. The Charge, of course, giving you the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. And today, guys, we do have some major announcements to make. Some that actually might be you might be relatively happy about. Something that I've been kind of planning for a while, but we'll save that for when we're a little bit busier in the chat, when we're living it up in the chat. But nevertheless, let's just start off with some NBA news and rumors. And before we start that off, please, guys, remember to go to my Twitter account and like and subscribe, or, you know, I keep saying like and subscribe, but just go and follow the channel, The Charge, at The Charge stream, where we talk about the latest news and rumors. Obviously, we're going to be working on making sure that this is kind of, just kind of want to just kind of show you the channel. Obviously, we're going to grow this a little bit more, but at the end of the day, please follow The Charge stream. We have 3 followers right now. We got Ismail, we got 90s Baby. I think that is you, Eoy. So shout out to you, and of course myself as the Twitter host. But at the end of the day, let's get right into the news and rumors. So first off, we're just going to kind of go through Real GM and kind of talk about this, some stories here that were on here. We got, the Rockets wanting John Wall as they were uninterested in a major downgrade. So this is a story talking about how a lot of people wanted them to tank. A lot of people wanted them to kind of just be a team where it's like, you know what, why are we listening to you? Why are we trying to do anything? Like, why are we trying to listen to the narrative of we're trying to tank and trying to build a team? That is not what the Houston Rockets want to do. They want to make sure that they are viable for the next couple years. And I just didn't think it really helped so much with the way that the owner right now is not really taking care of the team, and it's kind of creating this whole atmosphere right now that's just very unwarranted. So we'll see what's going to be going on in this aspect. But at the end of the day, let's find out what the owner has in store. I mean, they got John Wall. They still have James Harden as to this point. Of course, recording this on December 4th. Obviously, there's a couple more weeks left until the NBA season actually starts. So we'll see what happens in that aspect. But at the end of the day, let's kind of continue on with what the story has to say. So John Wall was singled out as the most intriguing option in the market, writes Kelly and Fred Katz of The Athletic. And we know that The Athletic, great source. Wall hasn't played in 2 years due to injury, but the reports coming out of scrimmages he's participating have been encouraging. By acquiring the first-round picks, the Rockets believe that they can become major players at the deadline. So I think what they're banking on, what they're hoping for is going to happen is that they are hoping that they're going to be able to get a superstar player. What superstar player will be there? I don't know. I mean, obviously they're going to have to talk to James Harden. They're going to have to talk to John Wall because with those 3 first-round picks, I think it's safe to say that you probably should tank for one of these players because this next year's draft and the year after that is going to be a good one. There's some great players in there. But at the end of the day, we're going to find out. We're going to find out what's going to happen. But, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think John Wall is a little bit more motivated. We'll see what happens with him. It's kind of... We'll see what happens there because I'm a little worried about that situation working out. Not saying, because John Wall hasn't played in a couple years. His athleticism is really the thing that really gets him going because shooting-wise, he's not as good as some of these other players. He's not as good as, Russell Westbrook and John Wall are kind of like almost similar players in my opinion. It's freakishly athletic, but just shooting-wise, it's just not the best. And in this league, it's a shooter's league. If you can't even shoot a lick, like even close to like 34, 35%, then you are not going to be a viable option. I mean, it was kind of the reason why I was confused as to why Daryl Morey even signed him. And so that's kind of an interesting thing to kind of view and see. But at the end of the day, the Rockets are not interested in a rebuild. They're interested in rebuilding their team and I can't talk today. Revitalizing their team to become a contender. But let's move on to another story. Of course, this is Kyrie Irving skips media session and intends to let my work on the on and off the court speak for itself. This is, of course, coming from Real GM. Kyrie Irving opted not to speak to reporters entering training camp and instead issued a statement. COVID-19 has impacted a lot of us in many ways, so I pray for the safety and health of our communities domestically and abroad. I am truly excited for the season to start, and I am also praying that everyone remains safe and healthy throughout this journey. Irving wrote in a statement, "Instead of speaking to the media today, I am issuing a statement to ensure my message is conveyed properly. I'm committed to showing up to work every day, ready to have fun, compete, perform, and win championships alongside my teammates and colleagues in the Nets organization. My goal this season is to let my work on and off the court speak for itself. Life hit different this year and it requires me to move differently. So this is the beginning of that challenge. Some prominent members of the media have voiced contemptuous opinions towards Irving in the past recent years, as his work off the court has been increasingly impactful. Irving was one of the leaders, obviously, that had concerns about the restart. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to the Kyrie Irving situation, it's not that the media, confuses your words. It's not that the media twists what you're saying into something else. I mean, at the end of the day, in Boston, you did say that you were going to sign an extension with Boston. You even went out to the fans and said, hey, if you will have me, I will want to re-sign here in Boston. So at the end of the day, this isn't so much as your, the media confusing what you're saying. It's more like we're confused with what you want. And I think that at the end of the day, the media is only there to either harm or help you. And if you go sour on them real quick, they're not going to be your friends. They're going to ask the tough questions. They're going to be like, okay, you want to play a little tough ball? We'll play a little tough ball here and ask, why your team is struggling, why you're not doing so well. And at the end of the day, I just think that Kyrie Irving just was not nice to the media at all. I'm not saying that the media is the nicest people in the world. There actually are some ruthless people out there that I'm sure that a lot of these athletes would love to talk about one day. And I actually love to get their opinions on news reporters and what people have to say on the inside. Because, there is some people that are rude. There is some people that are mean. But at the end of the day, Kyrie Irving, this was brought on upon yourself. Because there were so many times where I felt like you could have done the right thing or you could have done something to kind of help yourself in that situation. But instead, what I'm seeing right now is that, again, I like the idea of you just working on your game, just saying, what, I'm not going to care about what anybody else says. I'm going to be working on my bag. I'm going to be working on making sure that my game is the most tip-top shape I can ever be. And that's great. And I'm happy for you, Kyrie Irving. But at the end of the day, you can't blame the media for what you have done and for what you have said. And that's not the media twisting your words. That's not the media taking things out of context. It's literally you saying what you said. And I think the Boston one still irks me, obviously because I'm a Boston fan. But, at the end of the day, he just wasn't the right fit for Boston. And it is what it is. It stings. It hurts. But what really frustrates me more so than anything else is just the fact that I think Kyrie Irving is actually a really good player. It's just the mindset of Kyrie Irving is what confuses me and probably confuses a lot of people. I did call him the Nightwing. He wanted to be Nightwing of the NBA. If you guys know the story of Nightwing, he was originally Robin from Batman and Robin. And, Nightwing is the new character's name, or the character that Robin plays now, because he was tired of being the sidekick and wanted to be his own hero. And that's why I kind of referred to LeBron as Batman. And I think this just rings true. I mean, Kyrie Irving wanted to be his own guy, wanted to be his own superstar, got the chance to become his own hero, got the chance to become his own superstar on his own team. Now that he kind of had that revitalization from playing in the 2016 championship and winning it. And it ended up just, having egg on his face after that because he really didn't take the role of being a leader serious. And that's just something that if you want to be the leader, if you want to be the guy, you have to show that you want to be the guy. And I just felt like he just didn't want to show it when he was in Boston. Maybe Danny Ainge had to play a part in it because Danny Ainge was a little bit restrictive. But at the end of the day, it is a little bit frustrating. So we'll see what happens. But let me just check really quick. Okay. Perfect. Just want to make sure that we are good on my end for just live streaming stuff. 1 second. Sorry, I was kind of going on a little tangent there. Oh, Pete, yep, we got a huge announcement coming up. Not sure how long you can stay in here, Pete, but I will make the huge announcement after just finishing up the story about Kyrie Irving. But like I said, I think Kyrie Irving at the end of the day, he brought this stuff upon himself. It wasn't like the media, like I said, they didn't take him out of context. They didn't say like, hey, Kyrie Irving, we're kind of interpreting what you're saying. Like, no, he said these words. He said he wanted to sign an extension with Boston and didn't. He said that he wanted to be a leader for Boston and didn't. And it's the same thing in the Brooklyn area. I mean, as much as I love to kind of, it's your opinion whether you want to play in the NBA or not in terms of, in terms of for the restart, but there was many players that did, and I felt like you kind of judged those players that did want the restart, aka LeBron James. As much as I think you do respect LeBron James, I still honestly think that you hold resentment towards him because it's been viewed as his team or his Cleveland Cavaliers team that won the championship. I still think that that's kind of what's bugging Kyrie Irving. And again, that is just my opinion. That's not the opinion of Kyrie Irving. That's not the opinion on anything else. But it just comes across as fake. And I think what better two players to join each other than Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving? Like, I think that they brought this stuff upon, hey, Niner by Nature, how you doing, man? In a minute, I'm going to talk about the huge announcement since we got a couple of you in here now. We'll talk about that in just a second. But at the end of the day, what is frustrating about Kyrie Irving and just kind of what is going on about Kyrie Irving is the fact that I think that he actually could be a really good player in this league. And you could actually maybe have him be the 1A to 1B superstar. But it's just hard when you just have to deal with what he says, with what he does, because he really honestly frustrates people. Like, I could see why a lot of the Celtics players and even the fans were frustrated with him. I could see why Cleveland and LeBron were frustrated with him. And it just kind of goes on and on and on until finally he gets to Brooklyn. And then this is his last chance, in my opinion. I don't think anybody's going to take a chance on Kyrie Irving like they've had before. Because I think, like, as much as he's immensely talented, he also gets hurt, man. He also gets hurt, and it's not a good recipe when you're a little bit injury prone, which Kyrie Irving is at this point of his career, and also the fact that you blame the media for stuff that you say. It's not that the media is misconstruing your words or anything like that, but at the end of the day, we'll see what happens with Kyrie Irving. And so, let me know in the comment section, and if you guys are live with me, let me know in the chat what do you guys think of this story. Do you guys think that Kyrie Irving, the way that he's not going to talk to the media at the beginning of the season, is that a good thing or bad thing? Let me know in the comment section down below. And while I have you guys in here, and hopefully Tyrese or Supreme Gamer, if you guys are watching this later on, and Eoy as well, if you're watching this later on, we are going to be announcing that we are going to be doing a daily, Monday through Friday, Charge episode live stream. What is it, 5 days a week? Yeah, we're going to be doing it 5 days a week. The time is still to be determined. I'm hopefully going to do it on after school. So since I work for a school district, we finish about 3:15. So I'm going to say about like 3:35 and probably go for an hour, but we're going to go 1 hour live each and every day, Monday through Friday, from 3:30 all the way to 4:30. Unless something happens where I have to move the stream later on the day. That is what is going to be going on here on The Charge. At least 1 hour of NBA basketball news and rumors, and also different types of shows here on The Charge. We're going to be talking about the news and rumors. We're going to be talking about many different things. But I just kind of want to make this to your guys' attention. The huge announcement is, of course, we're going for a regular schedule Monday through Friday, 3:35 to about 4:40 to 4:40, 4:35, somewhere around there. But we're going to be doing a 1 hour show each and every day, Monday through Friday. Obviously, that might change based on the fact of basketball, but we're going to be doing a show every day live. And I do need to talk to you, Pete, off the stream about some, I would say, guidance on some things. So that'll kind of be later on down the line after I talk to him. But nevertheless, he's about to play Oakland in a bit. Yeah, I'm actually gonna be watching that game, and I'll probably watch it at some point. Probably peek in the live stream here and there. But yeah, you'll see, we got Sean in the chat. Again, like I said, we are going to be doing a daily Monday through Friday type of show from 3:35 all the way to 4:40. Just kind of talking some NBA news and rumors, just kind of getting the opinions of everybody here. We'll have probably Brad on here as well. Sean, you're always welcome to come on the show. Pete, if you want to come on, you are well than welcome to come on the show and talk some basketball. But yeah, that is the huge announcement that is being made here on the channel. We're going to be doing a daily show to kind of help grow and accelerate the grind, because obviously this YouTube algorithm rewards grinding, and I need to do a better job of that, and that's what's going to be happening here today. But that doesn't mean that there won't be shows later on in the day. Like maybe one day, I have work. Babe, do you want to be in? You're invited too. You're always invited. I always tell you that you're invited. Whether you want to talk some athletic training stuff, kind of talking about what's the next big thing for these players. I mean, if you want to come on the show, talk your Lakers. I mean, whenever you want to get on, you can get on. But to kind of go back to the topic at hand, yes, we will be going live each and every day for an hour. But again, like I said, this doesn't mean that there won't be any late night live streams. There might be a time where there is some breaking news where we have to get on and talk some basketball. So, this is obviously going to be about the time when the later Eastern, earlier games start, when the NBA season officially starts. And then once the week goes on, and once we talk about it, that'll be what is going to go on. But we will also be talking about the NBA schedule here today on this episode. This episode might run a little bit longer because we have a couple things to talk about. I do want to talk some, what do I want to talk? Jerseys. I want to talk City Edition jerseys because we have to rate them. We have to rate 1 through 30 what jersey looks the best, what jersey looks the worst. So that'll also be here on the channel as well after we talk some NBA schedule, of course. But again, guys, really appreciate every love and support that I'm getting from the channel. Of course, we are so close to getting that 1,000 subscriber mark. And so any way we can get it, that's the way we're doing it. So Monday through Friday, once again, kind of almost I wish I could buy ad space on TV on ESPN to just kind of blast it. But I will be posting it on Twitter as well. Again, we will be going Monday through Friday, live streaming for an hour from 3:35 to 4:40. Hour 5 minutes, hour 10. And we will be talking about the situation at hand. But anyway, guys, that is just that's just the huge announcement that we're making here on the channel. Again, guys, from Monday through Friday, that is when you're going to be expecting a live stream. But let's move on to the all right, Night of Our Nature. I'll get your guys' opinion in a second on those jerseys, but let's talk some NBA scheduling as we have officially, if I can find it here on The Athletic. Also, Pete, if you want The Athletic, let me know and I can get it for you. You can just use my account. Let's see here. I don't think it's on here just yet. Let's look. Maybe it's on. We can look at ESPN. But I'll open up a new ESPN really quick. ESPN. So we got the official schedule here really quick. This is kind of ESPN's kind of schedule for what we're going to see here on out. These are the first week fireworks. Of course, December 22nd is officially when the league is going to start. We got December 22nd, Golden State Warriors at Brooklyn Nets, the return of KD to the Bay Area. Obviously, I think they're in San Francisco now, so, they don't really count as Bay Area because they're not, like, between Oakland and San Francisco. But it's still going to be a fun watch. Obviously, it sucks that Klay Thompson had the Achilles injury, but it will still be fun to see the number 2 pick, James Wiseman, take on Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and seeing maybe they might be able to get a familiar face, James Harden, to the Brooklyn Nets, but that is a big if and or buts. And this is also the head coaching debut for Steve Nash as well. So I think this will be a fun one. I think I have the Nets winning this one. Obviously, don't count out Steph Curry, but at the end of the day, when you have an injured superstar player or star player, it's just tough to overcome. So that is going to be that for the Brooklyn Nets. Of course, another game, the main event, the heavyweight, pop, pop, pop. We got the LA Clippers at the Los Angeles Lakers. This is going to be a fun one. Obviously, the Clippers and the Lakers have a big rivalry. We know that the Clippers are the biggest frauds, if I can steal a line from Hugh Wizzy. Shout out to Hugh Wizzy, football analyst. The fraudulent gang, of course, being the LA Clippers. They are the most fraudulent team in the NBA at this moment because they flew a 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets. And of course, they lost a couple of key pieces. Trez is gone. They're looking to bolster up. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard seem to not be taking on the onus of what happened last season, but rather deflect blame. And now this is going to be a fun one with Trez being in a purple and gold uniform. So, of course, this is probably the game that most people are going to be looking forward to. Excuse me. And then the next game we got, of course, is the Wizards and the 76ers. That should also be a fun one to watch. We get to see the return of Russell Westbrook to the nation's capital, even though he was never from there. But he is going to be playing for the nation's capital. Meanwhile, the 76ers with the revamped team, we'll see what happens. Doc Rivers, the new coach, we'll see if they can do some damage. And of course, Danny Avdija is also going to be playing for the Wizards as well. A game I'm very interested in, and I think our schedule that we've seen for the Boston Celtics is probably one of the toughest ones, is, of course, the Milwaukee Bucks at the Boston Celtics. This is, of course, going to be, number 4. Of course, Snyder by nature, he is going to be wearing number 4. I believe that was his high school number, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be interesting to see him not wear the number 0. But the Milwaukee Bucks at the Boston Celtics is the next game. This one's going to be an interesting one as well, as we are without Kemba Walker due to a stem cell repairing knee that he's going through. So we won't be seeing him until the end of January, or maybe even the beginning of January. We'll see what happens with the strength program. I'm really concerned about that if that is the case. But Giannis is going to return to the court. He's going to want to, hey, Supreme Gamer, letting you know now we are doing a show Monday through Friday from 3:35 all the way to 4:40 or 4:35, depending on how the show goes. But it's going to be an hour each and every day, Monday through Friday. So sorry, I had to kind of shout that out to everybody that's here. That is kind of the big announcement for the channel. We are going to be doing a live 1-hour show. When Harden gets traded to Philly, that Wiz 76 is going to be fun. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what team he actually does end up going to. And again, the Milwaukee Bucks, Boston Celtics, the return of Giannis after being injured against the Miami Heat. This is going to be a fun one for him. Obviously, they didn't get Bogdan Bogdanovic. He actually went to the Atlanta Hawks, so we'll see what the Bucks can do with their team with Drew Holiday, who they just recently traded for. The 23rd, we got the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Houston Rockets. This is going to be an interesting one. The big news, Supreme Gamer, is just kind of the scheduling release and also kind of what Kyrie Irving said to the media. So if you kind of want to rewind and catch up later. Oh, sorry if I hit the mic. Catch up later to where we're at right now. That's kind of the news that we're talking about. But as far as just news, just the schedule has been released, and that's what we're getting into right now. But yeah, the Oklahoma City Thunder, Houston Rockets, definitely not a game that's like fun to watch or anything like that. But we will see that James Harden will be returning if he is going to be playing. What did Kyrie say? Kyrie just basically said that he's skipping media and just going to say he's going to let his play do the talking instead of talking to the media. So just more fakeness from him. Like I said, if you want to rewind a little bit of what's going on, then that'll be great. And then you can catch up a little bit later in the stream. Next, we have Dallas at Clippers. That's going to be a fun one as well. Actually, I think they skip all the... Okay, this is just kind of like the first action, the must-see first half later. Because the Christmas games are actually really fun. This is going to be a fun one. Luka Doncic going to be playing against the Clippers. We'll see what can go on there. Will this be a passing of the torch from the Mavericks taking over the Clippers spot? Who knows? We'll see what happens. But let's look at the first half. I'm not sure if they have the Christmas games down here or not. We got some rookies. We got this whole schedule. So let's kind of go back up here really quick. Must see first half games, of course. We got the Miami Heat, Boston Celtics, the rivalry, the rematch there. We also got the Clippers against the Trailblazers. Also, shout out to the Trailblazers. They actually have a really fun intro, I would say, to their schedule. I'll probably play it a little bit. Maybe let's play it now. They actually had a really fun little intro. We'll just play a little 30 seconds of it. They kind of released their schedule really quick right here. Hopefully it's playing. Oops. Let me turn this up a little bit. So that's kind of the, and we can talk about this. Obviously, they're going to play the Lakers, I believe. Let's see when they say, but that is just kind of the intro. I think the Portland Trailblazers probably had the best kind of schedule release, I would say, out of all the teams. So that's kind of a fun thing to see. Let's see here. You think the Blazers had the best offseason? Nah, I don't think so. I think the Atlanta Hawks had a better one. Blazers, to me, I think are a little bit overrated, in my opinion. I think the Blazers, as much as I love to watch Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, and I know that they're the best basketball in, on the Northwest, just because the Sonics are gone, I still think that they're overrated. Hey, Yoy, how you doing, man? Hopefully you can kind of watch. We are going to be doing a daily live stream Monday through Friday from 3:35 all the way to 4:35. And that's going to be every day, Monday through Friday, to kind of get the grind going. But we also kind of have to talk about another interesting part of this, and of course is going to be, we got some new marquee matchups. We got the Lakers versus the Nets. That's going to be a fun one. This could be a finals preview. Oh, let me see here. Now it's on the screen. This could be a finals preview between those two teams. We'll see what happens there. Miami Heat and Lakers rematch here. This is going to be a fun one as well. And then let's talk about some oh my God, I can't even talk. Brothers playing against each other. There we go. Siblingly rivalry. There we go. Man, I could not speak for like 20 seconds there. English. Bernie, come on. But Detroit Pistons at Minnesota. We got Anthony Edwards going against, the LiAngelo Ball. That's going to be a fun one. We got the Hornets and the Pelicans. That's going to be a fun scheduling. This is going to be a fun one. Lonzo versus LaMelo. Who's going to be the best out of the two? That's going to be a fun one to see. But let's talk about the Grizzlies. I think that's also a fun one to see. Let's see the Grizzlies. Where are you at? Memphis. Kind of look at their schedule so far. This is, of course, the first half of the season. Actually, this is preseason. Let's go regular season. Kind of talk about this. They actually get this started with the San Antonio Spurs. Always a fun matchup back in the 2013s. That was always a fun matchup. They play Atlanta. The 26th, that's going to be a fun one to watch as well. I know my friends Sean and Josh are going to be going at it on that day. Boxing Day, that is. So we'll see what happens there. And it looks like you got a doubleheader with the Los Angeles Lakers on January 3rd and January 5th. So that'll be a fun one to watch. And so the Grizzlies do have a pretty decent schedule. I think that the Grizzlies could improve from last year. I think that, obviously some injuries are affecting them at this moment, but we'll see what happens with the Grizzlies. But they are a fun team to watch. They're a young, experienced team with John Morant in his second year. We'll see what happens in that aspect. But let's go over to the Atlanta Hawks, because that is actually where we're going to be starting off here with their scheduling and kind of their regular season. They start off December 23rd against Chicago. Eoy, that is your team. Chicago Bulls, they play on the 23rd. They're going to be playing against each other at 5 p.m. Obviously, it's not on TV, so best believe that League Pass will be activated for me at least to watch that game, and that'll be a fun one to see. You think OKC is fading for Cade? Okay, I could see it. Grizzlies are not. You don't think the Grizzlies are making the playoffs, Supreme Gamer? Why is that? Do you not like the young core? Or do you think that the West has gotten that much better? I think the West is very open, and especially with a 10-man playoff, especially if they're close within each other, that is just a recipe for one of those teams, whether it's the let's see the schedule. Like whether it is the Minnesota Timberwolves who could be in the same spot, or the Memphis Grizzlies, or even the San Antonio Spurs, because you can't ever count out Greg Popovich. I just think that there's always a place for them to kind of upset one of these eight seeds. And I think that some of these teams are going to fall off. I think Houston will fall off tremendously. I think they'll go down to the 7th seed. And, they may even go down to the 6th seed, or 8th seed. Who knows? But, the Jazz have gotten okay. Oklahoma City Thunder have gotten worse. So they're probably going to be falling off just a little bit. I think that they need to, I think they're just missing that star player, that superstar player. So, but yeah, the Atlanta Hawks schedule is very interesting. They play Chicago, Memphis, Detroit, Brooklyn. Brooklyn, I think, is going to be a fun one to watch against the Atlanta Hawks, seeing if they can compete in that aspect. That'd be a fun one to see, how Trae Young and Kyrie Irving go at one another. We'll see if Bogdan Bogdanovic is going to be the X factor that many people have claimed he is. I still think that he is going to be. And they don't play the Lakers until the February 1st. You take them over the Spurs and T-Wolves and win, Suns. Okay. Who's going to make the playoffs and win? Okay. I could see that. I could see it. But yeah, that is kind of the situation at hand. I just kind of want to quickly look at, Wisconsin's number 4. I'm not sure who they have on their team. I have to look at their roster. I know that they don't have like a top, ESPN recruit, but they are a well-coached team. They're a well organized group, and they definitely play within each other. They play within themselves. But let's see if we kind of look at the, we kind of see some serious reduced travel. We got back-to-backups, So let's see here. The strength of schedule first half of the season, it's looking like the Oklahoma City Thunder have the hardest schedule, and the Orlando Magic have the easiest schedule, it looks like. We see Milwaukee have an easy schedule as well. I think Boston's in the middle of the pack. Utah has a tough schedule. Sacramento has a tough schedule. The nation's capital, D.C., has a tough schedule. The Phoenix Suns, where are they at? I believe maybe they're under Phoenix. Phoenix, kind of in the middle of the pack as well. Memphis has a middle of the pack schedule. Philadelphia has an easier schedule. Brooklyn has an easier schedule. So these two teams could pop off for a couple of wins and be ahead in many races. It's going to be an interesting kind of first half of the season, right? We only have the first half so far. We'll be seeing like if players, or sorry, not players, but if fans are allowed to be even in the arena. So we'll see if that's going to be happening. So this is going to be a fun one. I think that when we look at how the season is going to be going on, I do believe that at the end of the season, Oklahoma City is not going to be making the playoffs just because we look at their strength of schedule. We look at where they're ranked at, opponent's schedule. It's just, I just feel like this is going to be the Warriors' strength of schedule. I believe if we look at the Warriors, what was that, Golden State, they're in the middle of the pack as well. They're just below Memphis. They're at number 16. Miami's number 17. The Clippers are at 19, so that could be good for their fraudulent gang to and the fraudulent team as well to kind of try and get some wins there. So we'll see what happens in that aspect. Cleveland also is number 20. Philadelphia gets a huge break. New York, the chat is popping today. I love it. Cleveland is at number 20. That's kind of, we'll see what happens with Cleveland. I don't have any faith in them. But New York, as much as you give them an easy schedule, they'll still find a way to lose those games. I'm sorry, Pete. I know that's your team, but they'll still find a way. Houston actually has an easy schedule. That's actually interesting. The Lakers. The Lakers get an easy schedule at number 28 ranked. So they will definitely be on a strength of pace. But let's also kind of talk some news and rumors as well, just from the Twitter sphere. If we kind of go to a tweet coming from LeBron James really quick. He talks about a certain player. This is actually coming from Hoop Central. We see here really quick this tweet right here. Name an NBA player who will take a giant leap this season, and the strength of schedule will actually help Kyle Kuzma in this here. And that is, of course, going to be Kyle Kuzma. He's naming him as a player that could take a giant leap. Let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think of what do you think of Kyle Kuzma taking that giant leap? Do you guys think it'll happen, or you guys think it'll not happen? I'm curious to know whether or not Kyle Kuzma is going to be taking that huge leap. I mean, their schedule is ranked 28. It could be a possibility. But I think he has to play within himself and play a little bit smarter and not force and jack up shots. That's kind of what my worry is about Kyle Kuzma, because we saw in the playoffs, we saw that he kind of had a sophomore slump or whatever. I can't remember if he's in his third year or second year. Or maybe it was his third year, because I think he's in the same draft as as Lonzo Ball. I think that this is going to be the year where I think this is going to be a make it or break it. I think Kyle Kuzma is going to be good, but I think he's going to be, his shot selection, I think is going to be a little bit smarter, but we'll see what happens here. Like I said, Kuzma definitely didn't prove himself in last year's playoffs. He ended up being on the bench a little bit, but Eoy, I know you want every player to go to Chicago, but that's not going to happen, man. Shot contested step back. Yep, that's the signature, the patent Kyle Kuzma jump shot right there. So Pete, you said as long as Obi, RJ, and Mitch all improve a bit, I don't care how much we lose. I mean, hopefully you get this number 1 pick, man, either this year or next year, because you're going to need it. If you can get Cade Cunningham, that could be a scary team. But with James Dolan as your owner, I am not too confident in that. And I know that I'm taking shots at the owner again, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of James Dolan at this moment. I don't think anybody is, to be honest with you. But let me know in the comment section if you're live with me in the live chat. We got 8 of us in here. That's awesome. Let me know what you guys think about Kyle Kuzma being the player to take the giant leap this season. I mean, I don't know if any other players kind of commented in here. We see Luka Doncic bald, Andrew Wiggins with the muscles, Caruso. I don't think anybody else tweeted here. I don't think so. You think Rui takes the biggest leap this year? That's interesting. Okay. Rui Hachimura is going to take the biggest step. That's what Sean thinks. Who do you guys think is going to take the biggest step this year? Who do you guys think is going to be the player that takes the biggest step? To be honest with you, and this is going to be a little bit biased because I'm a big fan of this player, but I think Bogdan Bogdanovic. I know a lot of people don't really know about him. I know you just hear about the trade rumors, but man, if you watched his gameplay in Sacramento, and I've watched a couple Sacramento games here and there, I kind of followed him because he was one of those players that kind of seemed to me like he could be a guy that takes a giant leap. And I think that when he plays on the Atlanta Hawks, he's going to take them to another level to where they're going to be in the playoffs. And I think Bogdan Bogdanovic, I think, is going to get his recognition and maybe even win a most improved player, but we'll see what happens in that aspect. I know he's still a good player, so it's not like it's really that much improved. But Niner by nature, you say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Supreme Gamer, you say Christian Wood. That's actually a great shout. Sean, you said Rui Hachimura. Anybody else out there in the chat? Pete, who do you think is going to take that big step? Do you think it's going to be one of your New York Knicks players? That'll be an interesting one to kind of talk about later on in the show. And then let me see if there's anything else that we can kind of talk about really quick as it pertains to Quinn Cook is coming back to the Lakers. You know, Quinn Cook won a championship. They have a relationship with both Anthony Davis and LeBron James. It seems like they're just kind of doing a team-friendly deal with Cook. So we'll see. That's great to hear that he's got a job. Good for Quinn Cook, because I think he's actually a really good player. It's just I think he's just overshadowed by like Caruso at this moment, and so I think that's going to be an interesting thing to see. Mike Conley and COVID-19 protocol due to family contact. Let's see if there's anything here. Let's see here. Hawks offer a 2022 first-round pick from the Thunder to the Kings for Bogdan Bogdanovic. Let's see what this is. Offered Sacramento King a 21st-round pick belonging to the Oklahoma City Thunder in a sign and trade for Bogdan Bogdanovic, sources tell Sam Amtic of The Athletic. We know that the Kings rejected the offer, which led the Hawks to be concerned with a 4-year, $72 million would be sheet. The pick from the Thunder is lottery protected 22 and converts to a second-rounders in 2024 and 2025. If this does not convey any first-rounders with the Thunder entering the rebuild, the pick is likely to convert to 2 second-rounders, which could be valuable if they have a prolonged rebuild. The Kings decided not to match the offer sheet due to a logjam with Buddy Hield and Tyrese Halliburton. Can the Lakers still... I don't think so anymore. Kind of reading the reports and kind of looking at everything. I mean, it's possible that they could get Giannis, but it would be a long shot. I think they would have to get rid of a lot of those players that you have on contract right now. And I think you'd have to wait until he's a free agent. I don't think it's one of those things where you can try and trade for him unless... I don't even think you can try to trade for him. I think his money is just too big at this moment. So I don't think it's going to be possible. But it could still happen. It's just going to take a lot of, finagling, and that's what kind of Rob Pelinka has to deal with at this moment. So we'll see what happens there. Let's kind of go over to the NBA and see if there's anything news here. Trying to change basketball. That is what Bam Adebayo saying. Simmons. Sixers had accountability problems. Let's get into the spice. Ben Simmons says Philadelphia 76ers had accountability issues last season. And, of course, this is First Take. It's a trash show now. Philadelphia 76ers star Ben Simmons said Friday that the team did not do a good job of holding each other accountable last season, which players a significant role in a disappointing 2019-2020 campaign. 100%, Simmons said when asked whether former Sixer Josh Richardson comments about the team's overall lack of accountability at the end of last season were accurate. We didn't know when we were going to get a bucket, who was going to get a bucket for us. From that to knowing what we need to do at all times, people are being held accountable for certain things, whether it's a minor thing. All players play a part. But my call is lottery marketing. Okay, Eoy, I see you. I see you trying to make that Chicago push. We'll see what happens. Like I think the Chicago Bulls, they're a point guard away, man. So hopefully you guys can get it. How about hold Ben Simmons account? That's exactly it, Sean, and we'll talk about that as soon as I'm done reading a little bit more of the story. Because that is 100% right. And I've made my point clear on Ben Simmons since he entered in this league. But let's kind of continue reading. He was definitely right. We were in a position going into that bubble and win. I think our mindset was off, and accountability is a huge part of winning, so I think it was definitely right. And I think that when it comes to it, I believe, let's kind of look at this. Practice. I believe this was a story, so we can kind of talk about this as my... You know, this is something that I think Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid can learn as a good life lesson of being held accountable. Last season, let's kind of look at Ben Simmons' stats and kind of see like the accountability for him. And let's kind of look at the stats really quick of his shooting percentage, because this to me is the biggest crime and biggest fraudulence coming from Ben Simmons. No, I think they're just giving him space, Supreme Gamer. I think Harden wants the move, but I think the Rockets don't want it, so they're just kind of making sure that there's no like boiling tension between the two. So they just kind of let James Harden have his space. But let's see here. So we got the 2019-2020 season. Let's look at three-point percentage. Shot 28%. How many threes did he attempt a game, though? That is the biggest question. And let's not look. I want to look at totals. Because that's really what's going to tell us the whole story about Ben Simmons. And let's go to Basketball Player Reference for this, because this is going to be I know we were looking at this player. Let's see here. Let's go to Ben Simmons. Whoops. Kind of look at this here. So let's go to totals, because this is what's really going to tell us Ben Simmons' whole story. I think if we look at the point percentage, this is throughout his whole career. He is 2 for 24 on three-point attempts. Now, you know I've been saying this since this channel was incepted, and my boy Pete can hold me accountable for this. I have always called out Ben Simmons for this reason and this reason alone. The fact that you do not take threes. The fact that you can't make your threes is the biggest fraudulence that I have ever seen from an NBA player. 2 for 7 in the 2019-2020 season. I know it was cut short, but let's even go back 2 years before that. 0 for 6 in the 18-19 season. He was an all-star. The 17-18 season, 0 for 11. This, to me, is the biggest fraudulence that I've ever seen from a superstar player. Ben Simmons is a great, great passer of the ball. He's a great facilitator. He's a great finisher around the rim. He is athletic. He is good at everything except shooting threes. But 2 for 24 is an absolute crime. For a max player that you are paying for as a guy that's supposed to be your franchise cornerstone piece, you are 2 for 24. How in the world is that even a thing? As an NBA player, as a power forward, as someone that we talk about this each and every year that he's in the league. I know it's only his third season. But it's the same thing that we keep saying each and every year. Ben Simmons could be such a good player if he learns how to shoot. Ben Simmons can be such a good player if he learns how to shoot. Ben Simmons can be such a good player if he learns how to shoot. That has been the reoccurring theme from Ben Simmons' career throughout his whole time that he's been here in the NBA. It's even been his whole career when he was in Australia, when he came here to play at LSU and played for like whatever games it was. But Ben Simmons has been missing this jumper since I don't even know how old he decided, shooting jumpers wasn't a thing. It is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, let's go to Joel Embiid and look at his stats and look at his three-point percentage. let's kind of go to his basketball reference. Hopefully you can give me here his basketball reference, and we can go to totals for him. Totals. Let me see here. Totals. 238 out of 747. And that is A-okay for a center. I am okay with that. Obviously, I would like the percentage to be a little bit higher, but I think that he did take a little bit too many threes and gave himself bad opportunities to not just finish around the rim and finish around the hoop, instead taking those jumpers. So that is something that we can also criticize Joel Embiid for. But going back to Ben Simmons and those stats right there, 2 for 24 his whole career. I've been saying this since he was a rookie in the NBA. What really irks me about Ben Simmons at this point, and it's kind of what irked me at the beginning, he is one of those players that at the beginning, I'm hopefully he has a new approach to his life when it comes to women he's dating, because he went for Kendall Jenner for numerous amount of times instead of working on his three-point shot. I've made the running and reoccurring joke on this channel that Ben Simmons is busy too much hanging out with the Kardashians instead of working on his three-point shot. I even made the joke now where he's in FaZe Clan, which is a gaming organization. He's working too much on video games and not really focusing on his career at hand. And as for a guy that gets paid millions of dollars and a guy that could be a really good player in this league, could be something special, I believe he signed to Clutch Sports, if I'm not mistaken. People compare him to LeBron James. That was the comparison for Ben Simmons. And it's year 3 right now, and he has not made that improvement that we've seen throughout his whole career. I mean, 58%, he's gotten better, shooting around the hoop. Definitely took a lot. I mean, obviously last year doesn't really count. And not that it doesn't count, but it's more so the amount of games is not equal to that. It's one of those frustrating things if I'm a 76ers fan that Ben Simmons, for the most part, has not been used properly. That he's not worked on his game properly. He's one of those guys that needs to improve his game three-point shooting-wise if he wants to become an all-time great. If he wants to be the next LeBron James, as many people has claimed he has been. As many people try to claim that he's going to be. I just don't see it. LeBron James, year 1, you could see he is going to grow and he's going to be a superstar and potential GOAT in this league. Meanwhile, what I'm seeing from Ben Simmons is, well, I'm in the NBA and I can kind of relax. And, I know I have a Kardashian girlfriend. I have a FaZe Clan sponsorship, so I can just kind of sit on my laurels, play video games. And at the end of the day, this only hurts Ben Simmons. It doesn't really hurt anybody else, because it really just proves my point right. Ben Simmons, we can see as many videos as you want of you in the gym, hitting three-pointers, hitting so many deep shots, but at the end of the day, if you don't take them and stretch out the defense and create situations, that is not holding the 76ers accountable. That is not holding yourself accountable. And I'm hoping that you did this offseason, because I want to see more than 7 attempts and at least a decent percentage. If you're not going to take that many, at least shoot a good percentage. Be confident in your jumper. Right now, I don't even know if he's confident in shooting the ball. It's just one of those frustrating things. I know that this is probably going to take up a lot of time talking about, but I have some criticisms for Joel Embiid as well, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But for Ben Simmons and just kind of the trajectory of his career, starting 21 years old, I believe he was drafted in the 2016, but had an ACL injury. It's one of those frustrating things, in my opinion, to kind of see what Ben Simmons has become at this moment. Because I think he could have been a really good player. I think he could have been an all-time great player, even now at this point of his career, at 23 years old. I mean, I know, we kind of try and compare to LeBron, and that's unfair because LeBron James is such a great, once-in-a-generation type of talent. But he was projected to be a LeBron James build. He was projected to be even Magic Johnson, and I'm not even seeing that at this moment. Is he a good player? Yes, he's a great player. I think that is he an all-star? To me, no. I thought that he could have done a little bit better. Definitely did a good job, but I thought there were some more deserving players than Ben Simmons at this point. And I just think that it's really disappointing to see that Ben Simmons has yet to improve in his game. We haven't seen the growth and the potential of a Ben Simmons. We've only seen the negative stuff of him. And that's kind of sad in my opinion, because I think, like I said, Ben Simmons had that kind of going into his freshman year at LSU and then going to the NBA. It was going to be an exciting time. He was going to work on his jumper. He's going to work on everything else. But the more I watch him play, the more I'm disappointed. Some of the plays where I see him, he starts off in the low corner and just is left there on offense. If he's not bringing up the court, going up the fast break, he's basically useless. And I can't remember if it was Jared Dudley or some other NBA player talked about, let me see here. I think it was Jared Dudley. Whoops. Calling Ben Simmons average, yes. We see here that Ben Simmons is just an average player in the half court. I don't know, man. The fact that he doesn't have a 3-point shot. He's definitely borderline, but I just don't think he was at all. I don't think he deserves an all-star, to be honest with you. I mean, he deserved maybe the second year he was in the league. That's probably it. But, when you have bench players calling you average, that's kind of a disrespectful thing. And if I'm Ben Simmons, I'm taking that personally, and I'm working on my jumper. I'm working on my 3-point percentage, because how in the world are you shooting 2 for 7 in one season? How are you shooting 0 for 6 in the last season? That to me makes no sense. That to me is a frustrating thing that I'm noticing about Ben Simmons. And yes, I am hard on him. It's because I know what type of player he can become. I know that he can be an awesome player. I know that he can actually step his game up even more. And don't think that I'm not going to criticize Joel Embiid. No, my friends. I will be criticizing Joel Embiid because he has some faults of his own that we need to discuss, because he and Ben Simmons are both not held accountable for the actions that they have committed against their teams. And I'm hopefully that Doc Rivers can correct this. I mean, like I said, I think Ben Simmons really needs to step up this year and shoot threes. Not saying that he needs to start, hucking them up, and if he's a bad 3-point shooter, you just shoot them. No. It's the opposite. I want him to take the smart shots. I want him to work on his game, because that is the way that players improve, and that is the way that you're going to see an improvement from these players. But at the end of the day, Ben Simmons needs to work on that, because it's honestly, at this point, you're more of a meme than you are an all-star and a great player. I know that a lot of people like him. I know that he's a great player. But at the end of the day, it is frustrating to see that Ben Simmons hasn't really gone up in the rankings. It hasn't really gone up exponentially, potential-wise, since his rookie year. I think that even to this day, I think that he's just going to stay the same player. Unless something drastic happens, unless Ben Simmons is able to stretch the floor and kind of shoot a little bit, that is the only time I ever see it happening. But, again, that is just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think of Ben Simmons in the comments section down below. And now let me get to Joel Embiid. This one, to be honest with you, is going to be a little bit shorter, but it's still kind of the point rings home. He's not held accountable because I think he's playing a little bit overweight. I think that he gets hurt a lot, and the reason why is because he's a little bit overweight and a little bit chunkier than I think he would like to be, because at his size and his weight, you just can't. There's the risk of a foot injury or a knee injury is so high, especially when you have that much weight on your knees. And I think that when it comes to Joel Embiid, he's got to do a much better job of making sure that he takes care of himself. And that's something that, he misses practice, so he's not with the team. I criticize LeBron James and Anthony Davis of it, so I have to keep that same energy and criticize Joel Embiid in the same aspect. I think Joel Embiid could be a great player. I want him on my team. I want him to be a Boston Celtic. But what I'd want to see from Joel Embiid is the effort and the kind of I would say, I'm trying to think of the right word, but the discipline to work on not being overweight, to work on being a little bit leaner so he can be more athletic, to be a little bit more available in games. Because if we look at Joel Embiid's career, 64 games total in the 2018-2019 season, 63 total in the 17-18 season. He's been missing a lot of games. And even the 16-17 season, his rookie year, only 31 games. That, to be honest with you, is a little bit disappointing to see from Joel Embiid. I thought Joel Embiid could have been a lot better. I thought he could have done a much better job. But at the end of the day, this is just kind of the frustrating part that I would say as an NBA fan, if I was a fan of the 76ers, it's just I need more commitment from these guys. I need more commitment from these players. I need a commitment from Joel Embiid that he's going to be in shape, that he's going to take smarter shots. Because I think Joel Embiid could be an even better player than I think a lot of us give him credit for. I think he could be a Hall of Fame type of player. I really do. I think Ben Simmons has that talent and that ability. But so far, I only hear the Mountain Dew commercials or the Hulu has live sports commercials. I'm not seeing the Joel Embiid that we got a couple years ago where he was hungry, where he wanted to be better. And he has gotten better. 80% from the free throw line is impressive for a big. But he still needs to work on his game. Because last year was kind of an aberration, I understand. But it was still a little bit disappointing to see. Because I thought the year before he was a little bit better. But we'll see what happens. I'm interested to know about what you guys think about the Joel Embiid situation. But the 76ers, I'm hoping Doc Rivers can kind of hold them accountable because I'm worried about that move. I'm actually really worried about Doc Rivers being there because I think Doc Rivers doesn't hold players accountable the way that I think some other coaches do. I think that Lloyd Pierce is a great coach and holds his players accountable. Doc Rivers has been in this league for a very long time, and I know that the championship in 2008, and I will forever thank him for that championship. But his time is kind of running out because I think that a lot of people are starting to question what's going on with Doc Rivers. You know, he is a great coach. I'm not denying that. But I think that kind of resting on the laurels of the championship is still in the people's minds, and I want him to be better about it. So we'll see what happens there as we continue to kind of watch and monitor the situation. Elo, you said, I've got a lot of stock in Ben, much higher on him than you are. Obviously, prototype point forward minus the 3, but in my opinion, he's too good to not figure something out. Even 30% from 3. I mean, he's got to be at least 32 plus, in my opinion, because I think he definitely should have more championships, Sean. I do agree with you there for Doc Rivers. It's just a frustrating thing to kind of see him with all the talent that he had around him. The Lob City Clippers, he really should have won a championship with. And even this Clippers team, he should have won a championship with. I know it was just one season, but he really should have won a championship. Obviously, they ran into LeBron James, so we'll see what happens. Doc Rivers got a championship based off the first super team. Is he really a good coach? I think he's a good coach. I think he has some good sets and good plays. But I think accountability-wise, I think those 3 players, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett, especially Kevin Garnett, held his team in check, held his team accountable. Where I feel like Doc Rivers was like, all right, I'm just going to let my players do it. I'm not going to hold my team accountable. And I think that's where the mistake is happening. And that's why the 2011 Clippers, or I should say the Lob City Clippers and this new Clippers team is probably, it's the biggest, I would say, not regret, but the biggest L, I would say, of any person. He's definitely leaps above Brett Brown. Brett Brown should have been fired immediately as soon as they got their players, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Because Brett Brown is accustomed to losing. He's a losing coach. And not saying that to be disrespectful, but the culture around there was losing. And so Brett Brown was in that mindset, I feel like, and I don't think he ever got out of it. And so I think Brett Brown needs to do a much better job of that. And obviously he's not going to be doing a much better job because he got fired, and now they're moving on to Doc Rivers as the head coach. But that is just my opinion on that story. I understand that shooting 32%, Pete, is like the greatest thing for Ben Simmons, but he's got to shoot 32 plus. Because in this league, if you can't even shoot 32 plus, you're going to be in trouble. And so we'll see what happens as this season continues. So we'll see if this will be a jump start for the 76ers. We'll see if Doc Rivers' new change of scenery is going to help him out tremendously. We'll find out. And I think that is it for kind of the 76ers talk. Let me know in the comment section down below, or if you're live with me in the chat, let me know what you think about that story. You know, we talk about the 76ers trying to hold each other accountable. We'll see if that happens. Now is kind of the finale, I would say, of today's episode as we kind of continue talking. We're going to talk about some of the NBA jerseys and kind of courts and stuff like that. We'll talk about the city jerseys and kind of talk about it. That's my kind of point on Ben. There was no accountability with Brett, a guy like Doc. See, the thing is, I don't know if Doc is going to be held accountable, or is going to hold those guys accountable. Because I didn't see that from the 2011 Clippers. I didn't see that from even this year's Clippers. And so how do I know that Doc Rivers is going to hold those guys accountable if he couldn't even hold Lob City and this new Clippers team that he had accountable? So I'm really worried if I'm a 76ers fan. Like, as much as I think it was a great move, a great hire, obviously anything is better than Brett Brown. It's just I don't know if Doc Rivers is necessarily the coach because I'm worried about him not holding those two teams accountable. The most talented teams he's ever had in his coaching career besides that Boston Celtics team. And even then, I still think those Clippers teams were more talented and a lot younger. But we'll see. But ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the final story that we're going to be talking about. This isn't really a story. It's more so a love it or hate it type of topic today. And that is, of course, the NBA City Edition jersey. This is, of course, one where we go over all the NBA City Edition jerseys and kind of talk about what they each look like. Do we like them? Do we hate them? Let's get into it. Let me just make sure if there's like a huge photo of them. I was kind of looking at it for myself, but I don't think that that'll be the case. Let's see here if we can look at. Let's see if they have all the jersey editions or if they don't have all the jersey editions. I mean, they just kind of have it here. Let's see here. Let's make sure NBA City Edition. No, we want. Ugh, LA. Come on, LA. But let's kind of talk about it. I think we'll just do the ESPN one because I think it's most up to date. Let's talk about the NBA City Edition jersey. Let's start off with number 1, the Brooklyn Nets jersey. You know, a tribute to the influential artist of Jean-Michel Basquiat, who is born in Brooklyn in the 1960s and rose to international prominence. This is the jersey. Let's take a look at it. It kind of gives me that, I would say, Friends vibe. You know, if you guys have watched the show Friends, that's what it kind of reminds me of. I would say this is eh. Like, I would call this kind of, we'll go fire, trash, and mid. And I think this is a mid, to be honest with you. It's not a jersey where I would be wearing it. I would be repping it. But I do like the backstory of it. But at the end of the day, it's a meh jersey, in my opinion. So, this to me is a mid, and I'll give this one a mid. Let's move on to the Cleveland Cavaliers jersey. This one to me is kind of, let's look at this one really quick. So this is kind of the jersey that we got here for the Cleveland look. You know, we got the Cavs, the Sex Pistols, David Bowie, Metallica, Led Zeppelin, Nirvana, NWA, Pink Floyd. I would have to give this jersey a pass. Exactly, Pete. I would give this jersey a pass. I don't really necessarily like the Cleveland Cavaliers one. It's a little too bland for me. Like, I think the lettering is cool. I think the intention of the story is cool. But at the end of the day, it's still kind of a mad jersey, and I don't think that it's one that I would necessarily buy. I like the court, though. The court looks awesome. I know that the court is also something that we can talk about as well. But if I'm Cleveland, this is definitely a pass on this jersey. And then let's move on to the Houston Rockets. This is their NBA City Edition jerseys. We can kind of look at the stitching. We can look at it. This is their jersey, the H-Town. You know, this one's okay. You know, to be honest with you, it just gives me that Chicago. I'm doing everybody's jersey, Sean. So the Grizzlies will be done. We will be looking at them in a little bit. But the H-Town ones, they just give me too much of that Chicago Just Dawn vibes, which is this is actually the city color of Chicago. And so this jersey to me is kind of a copycat one. So this one to me is a pass as well. H-Town, not really a big fan of this jersey. So I would give this jersey a pass in my opinion. Now the Miami Heat one is a very interesting one because this one to me spells of Trix yogurt. If everyone remembers the Trix yogurt, let's look it up really quick. You know, Trix yogurt. If we look at that, this is what the Miami Heat jersey reminds me of. This middle Trix yogurt type of vibe. That's what I'm getting the vibe of when it comes to the Miami Heat jerseys. I love their last year's one. I think last year's was actually a really cool one. I would actually have gotten that one. I do like the color of this light blue and pink, but I just think as a gradient from going from the blue to pink or the pink to blue, I'm not a big fan of it, and so I will give this jersey a pass as well. Last year's jersey were fire. I would have taken that one. This one to me is a pass. And let's see here. We got the Indiana Pacers going with an old school jersey, I believe. Let's mute so we don't get copyright stricken. This is their jersey. They're going for more of the old school pinstripe. We know that Reggie Miller was famous for those. Malcolm Brogdon looking good in the jersey right now. Jumper looking a little suspect, but that's okay. That's just my opinion. But that is the jersey for the Indiana Pacers, and I would say that I would actually wear this because it gives me that old school, like early 2000s Indiana Pacers. The brawl just kind of reminds me of it, so I give this one a pass, or sorry, a go. This one is heat. I would take this one. Now let's move on to the LA Clippers. This one is an interesting one. We'll watch their little video of what they say is about.
Share their side of LA culture, the grit, toughness, and perseverance. And when we finally had it in our hands, we showed PG. Liked them so much that he said,
I gotta show Quad. I mean, it's all right. I'm just
this jersey for all the doers in our city, striving to be great.
All right, let me just do a little something really quick. So I get the vibe that the jersey is trying to go for. It's trying to go for like that Los Angeles, like I would say almost like biker culture, or sort of like kind of like that 90s culture that you saw like in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And I actually like that a lot. The thing that ruins this jersey to me is the sponsor. Honey. Actually, no, never mind. They are sponsored by Honey. I thought... But even so, like Honey, I think the sponsor ruins the jersey because the jersey actually looks really cool. Even if you are a Laker fan, you have to say that this jersey does look cool. It's a very cool looking jersey. It's just ruined by the Honey logo that's next to it. I think if you get rid of the Honey logo, it actually is a fire jersey. But at the end of the day, it's still kind of it's a mid, and I would say that this is honestly a pass because of the Honey logo. Now let's move on to the Milwaukee Bucks. Of course, the Milwaukee Bucks have their jersey. It's sort of inspiration to their, I believe, what lake are they by? This is kind of their jersey. It's the, see if they have a story. This is kind of the story that they wanted. This is where people are looking at. Oh my goodness, Pete. Are you kidding me? You kidding me with that comment? I would say that this is also kind of a mid. I'm not really a big fan. Yeah, Honey is online coupons. I was thinking Bumble, and I was going to roast him for that, but then I realized that as I was streaming that it is actually Honey and not Bumble. Because I was going to say, if they had Bumble on there, I would have laughed. I would have laughed even more. But these Milwaukee jerseys, they're okay. They look cool. I like it. It's by, they're kind of going for the lake theme. So I'd give this one a meh. I like, their water benders. This isn't Avatar. This isn't like, what's the name of Aang's friend? Is it Katara? This isn't the Katara and the airbender here. Or sorry, not the airbender. The Avatar. No. I mean, it's okay. It's not the best. This is the moment that we've all been waiting for. I know Sean has been kind of clamoring for this one. He should get a Tinder sponsor. Let's look at the Memphis Grizzlies. I think their jersey looks pretty fire. I love kind of the outline of the teal design on the sides. I like the neckline. I think it looks like a cool jersey. I think this one is a fire. I would buy this one, honestly. I would get this one. The FedEx logo kind of ruins it for me, but I will say I think sponsorships just ruin the jersey in general. But I think the FedEx one looks pretty cool. Or sorry, not the FedEx, but the Memphis one looks pretty cool. I like the shorts. The shorts look really cool. And so I would have to say that I would actually get this one. And let's kind of watch. There's a little video next to it of John Morant. Kind of flexing over there, kind of with the Cadillac, a fresh gold Cadillac. Let's see what their story is on their jersey. Grit and grind transforms the Memphis into soul for the Grizzlies as their city edition uniforms will celebrate the life of a singer-songwriter Isaac Hayes and the legendary Stack Records. This uniform will feature a black base with a vertical stripes which represents the grooves on the Stack's vinyl records. Gold and turquoise trims finish the look inspired by the Hayes 1972 Cadillac Eldorado, which is displayed at the Saks Museum of American Soul. You can buy them without the FedEx. Oh, you can? See, I would get the jersey without the FedEx. And let's move on next. Like I said, it's a jersey that I would actually buy. So we're we are buying this Memphis Grizzlies jersey if I had, if that's the kind of the one that I want. Let's look at the Dallas Mavericks. Chime, of course, that's their sponsor. I would say that this one is a little too safe. And I don't know why Luka is not the person that you're doing the jersey of. I don't know why it's Kristaps. I don't know if Luka's in working out overseas, so maybe that's the reason why he's not there. But I would say that these jerseys are meh. Like, again, another mid. It's not a jersey that I would take. It's definitely a jersey that I would definitely skip. It's not like it's definitely not a jersey. I mean, let's see. How can shipping of a jersey to Slovenia cost 90? Okay. That's fine. That's just someone complaining about them. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of this, so this is a skip for me. This one to me is actually pretty cool. I like the jersey idea here in Utah. Obviously, Utah has their kind of sunset edition ones. This is kind of the opposite, fade to black. So instead of rising with the sun, we're now fading to black. And that's kind of the City Edition jersey that we're going to be seeing here. So let's look at their dark mode. Bum, bum, bum. Again, these jerseys, the shorts look fire. Obviously, for the arches is kind of what the theme of this one is. I love this jersey. I think it's probably one of my favorites. I would definitely buy this one. I love the color of it. I think this is probably one of my favorite jerseys out there. And let's move on to my other team, the Boston Celtics. Honestly, I know people are going to not like it, but I actually don't mind this jersey. I actually don't mind it because it does give the vibe of the championship banners. Shout out to Taco. But I do like the jersey. I think it looks like a cool one. But at the end of the day, it's still kind of a mid jersey if I'm giving it an honest rating. But at the end of the day, it's still, like, I think it's to celebrate the championship banners that we have up there. Obviously, now we're tied with the Lakers, and we're probably going to be losing that. But it's still a cool-looking jersey, and hopefully it's definitely a lot different. And I think it's a lot better than their other ones with the gold. Like, last year's one was kind of trash, in my opinion. But let's move on to the Detroit Pistons. They have Motor City as theirs. They're going to blow my ears out. I would say that these jerseys are also a mid. I would honestly skip these ones. I think that this, to be honest with you, like, you know, just give us some old school Detroit ones, man. I mean, let's look at what Twitter has to say about there. Change the font. Air has been outdated for a decade now. We're going to suck. So just how this process we can get next year. Lol. I mean, not really anything about the jerseys themselves, just kind of talking about their team. So obviously these jerseys were not a big hit with everybody. This is the Denver Nuggets one. I think this one is a missed opportunity. I am not really a fan of this because it just gives me Utah vibes. It gives me like they're trying to copycat the Utah jerseys. I think what people really wanted was the rainbow ones. That's kind of what people wanted. Let me see if actually let me go to the jersey really quick. This tweet. Dollar Tree Jazz jerseys. I think a lot of people really wanted the, you're really copycatting the Utah Jazz one, but I think a lot of people really wanted the rainbow one. They didn't want this jersey. I mean, this to me is kind of a copycat of the Utah one. So I would say that this is, they talk about rainbow season, but there's no rainbow in here. Like, what rainbow are we looking at here? Like we're looking at a sunset, not a rainbow. So I'd give that jersey a meh. And then let's talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder. This one to me is just kind of a interesting one. I mean, this guy kind of says it best. This is kind of like a Braves jersey. That's what it kind of looks like to me. And I think that guy is spot on with the jersey, analysis. Like this, it's another one where I'm just kind of It's not like one where I'm excited about. I would not get that one. But these ones right here, hey Tyrese, how you doing, man? We've been streaming for like an hour 15. If you want to go back and check out kind of the content we talked about here, right now we're kind of going over NBA City Edition jerseys. But Tyrese, we have some breaking news to talk about for here on the channel. We're actually going to be going live on the channel for an hour every day from Monday through Friday. So that's kind of the big announcement that this video is talking about. So, you know, I know that you're not watching these episodes, but especially I'm not, you know, because you get off late. But we will be having these episodes live every day for an hour on YouTube, so you can go and check it out. These jerseys right here, the San Antonio Spurs ones, are my favorite. Wait, Pete, which ones do you like? The Oklahoma. Okay, yeah, I mean, I can see how you like it. I mean, I'm not like a huge fan of it, but I think it's okay. This one to me is probably one of my favorites. This to me just gives me that great vibe. It's a 90s type of style jersey, but they modified it and made it modern to where it actually looks cool. And it's probably one of the jerseys that I would actually be willing to pick up if I didn't really like the Spurs. But if I was a Spurs fan, this is a City Edition jersey that I like. It's fun. It's vibrant. Let's kind of look at the video.
Still waiting for the Spurs to drip that Fiesta jersey. Wake me up in 2047 when they finally plan on releasing one.
May we please get those Fiesta colors jerseys now? It's been way too long.
The Spurs dropping Fiesta-themed jerseys for the 2021 season would be outstanding pick-me-up through this brutal year. Fingers crossed.
You've asked, and they've delivered, and they're giving you those Fiesta jerseys. San Antonio, these are probably one of my favorite jerseys out there. I don't really like the team as much, but I think the Fiesta color for the City Edition is actually really fun. And it's one of those jerseys that I would get even though I'm not a fan of the team. I think it looks like a cool color. I think that it's one of those jerseys that I would definitely wear if I, just wearing around. And so I think that this is a jersey that I definitely would be willing to acquire if I was a fan of it. So this one is a heat, and I would keep it. It's drip. Now we got to look at the New Orleans Pelicans. This one to me is... I think this one's too plain. I think the New Orleans jerseys actually could have done... The thing about New Orleans, and I think that a lot of people can agree with me on this, is that the city of New Orleans and just Louisiana itself, it's vibrant. It's Mardi Gras. You think of all these like beads and the colors. I think that this was a missed opportunity for the New Orleans Pelicans to kind of have like a different look to it. These to me look too clean and too proper to be like New Orleans Pelicans jersey. I think that they could have done a much better job. I think that it's one of those ones that I'm not a big fan of. I think maybe some people are. But this is not one that I think will be a top seller in my opinion, even if Zion is one of the athletes for there. But I think that it is too simple, and I think that, especially for a city like New Orleans, I think it's a missed opportunity for kind of talking about the vibrant, there's way too much white on that jersey. I think, like you said, they were onto something. It looked like they started it, but then they just said, you know what, we're just going to scrap it. They might have even just had all these like Saints logos all over the place. I think I would have liked that a lot better. But I do think that was a missed opportunity, in my opinion, to kind of have a cool looking jersey. Let me drink a little bit of water, and let's get on to the next one. EOI, if you're still here, we got to talk about this one, the Chicago. Like a priest robe. No. We got Chicago being the jersey. What do we make of the jersey? I mean, this one to me, it's not a bad looking way. EOI, if you're still here, I would love to know your opinion on that jersey. I'm not necessarily a fan of it. Like, I think it's okay. I think it kind of has like that 1920s vibe to it, like the movies. I think the colors are cool, but I kind of like when they went with the blue color. I think the blue color kind of is a different color, and I think that one, to me, honest with you, is a little bit better in my opinion. So I would kind of rate that one a mid. It's kind of a mid in my opinion. Now, here's a one that I think is actually really cool. Looks like the Bears. The Bears in Chicago. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. But this one to me is probably one of my favorite ones. The Valley, Phoenix. I think theirs is pretty cool. It's a take on their other jerseys that they had once before, especially the 90s jersey that Charles Barkley wore. I think it's a take on that. And I do actually like this jersey. That and the Spurs jersey are probably, and a few other ones as well, are kind of jerseys that I really like. And this one, to be honest with you, is one that I would, like I said, if I wasn't a fan of this team, I would still get, because I think it's actually a really cool looking jersey. I think Phoenix did a really good job with theirs, and so I do like their jersey. So that one to me is heat, and I would actually buy that one. Now we go to Buzz City. This one they went with a mint to represent the city being the first branch mint, along with gold and granite to access to represent the California gold rush of the 1800s. This one isn't too bad. I would say that it's cool. I actually don't mind them. I like the color. I think the color is actually good. The Lending Tree logo, again, is just throwing it off. But I do like the jersey. I think it's actually a cool looking one. So it's one of those jerseys that I would definitely, it's not my top 5, but it's definitely in the top 10 for sure. It's a cool looking jersey. Buzz City's kind of but it's not a jersey that I'm like clamoring to get, but it's cool. I like it. They're sponsored by Jordan. This one to me gets the biggest laugh, because, they try to say that Philadelphia has a skyline. And so when we look at it right here, this one to me, honestly with you, Pete, is another snooze type of jersey, and that is the Philadelphia skyline, if you want to even call it that. I mean, there's nothing in Philadelphia that screams skyline to me. When you go to Seattle, that's a skyline. When you go to these other places, that's a skyline. New York has a skyline. Philadelphia does not. They have a neighborhood, and that is just the jersey that they really should have brought back was the Allen Iverson jerseys from back in 2001. Those are the jerseys that should have been brought back. Instead, they brought these jerseys I'm not a big fan of. I understand the Liberty Bell. Obviously, Ben Franklin's from there. But if I'm keeping it real, I'm not a big fan of the Philadelphia jerseys. And, I think it's a missed opportunity, especially with the gingerbread house. That's true. It does look like a gingerbread house. It looks like one of those gingerbread villages I never made one of those, gingerbread village. That's crazy. That's for weird people. Only weird people like to build the gingerbread houses. But anyway, let's move on to the Orlando Magic jersey. This one to me is another interesting one. The Orlando jerseys, they kind of go for the oranges that are from there. I'm not really necessarily a fan of the brown. I think the brown really throws it off. But I do like these. I think this is actually a nice jersey. I'm not a fan of the brown, but I do think that it is a cool looking jersey, and I do like that. I've made them. I made them year round. Oh, the gingerbread. I was like, oh. But yeah, the Orlando jersey I do like. I think it would have been cool with the orange actually being there instead of the color. Actually would have been a cool thing to see instead of this sort of the brown. I think the brown throws it off for me, but it's still a nice looking jersey. I'm not saying that's like my least favorite, but it is what it is. The Disney logo. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I would say that it's a mid. It's not one of the, I feel like all these jerseys to me are mids. But let's move on to the next jersey really quick. We got the Oakland, the Golden State Warriors. Oakland always will be. I think this one, to be honest with you, was an insult to all of people from Oakland. Because Oakland has always wanted these jerseys. Oakland has always wanted these to return ever since they upsetted the Dallas Mavericks in the 2007 playoffs. And I think that this, to be honest with you, is an insult. Like, I love the jersey design. I think it's probably a cool looking jersey. But I think it's an insult to Oakland fans everywhere, because they always wanted this jersey to return ever since they won their championship. When they were winning their championships, they wanted these jerseys back in the lineup, and they failed to deliver each and every year. And now, they did them a disservice. And now it's like, why, they're living in San Francisco now. And I just don't think that people want that jersey, because they're not in Oakland anymore. And so I think Oakland fans are going to actually be really upset about these jerseys. And so, we'll see. Like, I think they will be upset about these jerseys being here. Let's see here really quick. But yeah, not a big fan of that just because of the idea. This one to me, I like the jersey, the MLK. I think their peach jerseys were actually probably one of my favorites. Obviously, the MLK is to represent to the Kings membership, to the first Black Greek letter fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, that being Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So that is the shout out to him. But I do like their peach tree jerseys that I think were actually a good looking jersey. I think Atlanta does a really good job. I don't necessarily like their red jerseys per se, but I do think that this jersey right here is actually a really good one. You can never go wrong with gold and black. I think that that's always going to be a great combination. So I do like the jersey. I think that the Atlanta Hawks are going to be a great team this year. Yes, Dr. King was a frat bro. That apparently, according to them, they were first Black Greek letter fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha. So again, I like these jerseys. These are probably in my top 5 for jerseys that I would actually get if I was interested in getting one. This one to me is going to be probably the ugliest one. I think it's going to be one that I think we forget about. And that is, of course, the Portland Trailblazers jerseys. I mean, what is this? I mean, let me move my screen so you guys can actually see this. What is this? I understand that you're honoring the tribes of Native Americans. I get that. I honestly do. But I don't think the colors are the right colors to honor the tribe. I think that you could have done a much better job. I understand that this is kind of like the mountain line for like the Oregon, and it's kind of why they have this as like there. But I think if you would have went with these colors instead of like this brown poop color, then I think it would have been better. But I think they went with like a different color. I'm not a big fan of this jersey. It looks like if Patagonia made a jersey. It does look like a Patagonia jerseys. But it is definitely a jersey that a lot of fans are not happy about on the sideline. Brown, really? No thanks. And so it's it's not really. You really like this one, Pete? I don't know, man. It looks too much like poop brown to me. I understand you're honoring the tribe, and I get that, but I think you could have done a better shade of brown. If you're gonna do a brown, I think a better shade of brown would have been a little bit more appropriate for this jersey. So this one to me is a skip, or it's something that we should forget about. Let's now look at the next jersey. Of course, that is going to be the Sacramento Kings. This one, to be honest with you, I actually do like these jerseys. Let's look at this video really quick.
You have to look to the past to see the future. You have to think about where you've been to know where you're going. Sometimes, to find inspiration, you don't need to search far and wide. Because sometimes, inspiration comes from the colors that got you here. Crafted in honor of Sacramento's colorful past, there's history behind every stitch.
So that is the Sacramento Kings City Edition uniforms. I actually think that these are probably one of the best jerseys out there. I like the idea of the jersey. I like the color scheme. Although, black is always going to be a color. I know you're saying it's boring as hell, but I actually do like this jersey. I think it's probably one of my favorites. I like the checker. I think you're missing out on the checkered look on it. Let me see if I can find like a Sacramento Kings jersey. If we look at the jersey really quick, I mean, this is kind of, they're going for the checkered look. I know that it's kind of a boring jersey to some people. Let's see here. I think it's right here in the team store. Let's see, City Edition. I think instead of only doing the checkered on the side here, I think if they would have done it to the whole jersey, I think it actually would have been a much better jersey. I do agree with you, Pete, that it is boring as hell, but I think the color scheme and I think the apparel itself is really cool. Maybe not so much the, hang on one second. Sorry, I just got a text. Yeah, I think I prefer like the checkered look if it was all over the jersey, but I do like the colors. I think the scheme is pretty cool. I know you say it's boring, Pete, but I think it's a really cool looking jersey. No, let's see here. Let me see if I can just find city. I mean, what other city edition jerseys have we not looked at so far? I'm trying to think if there's any other city edition jerseys that we haven't looked at. Minnesota, theirs is kind of boring and bland. I'm not really a big fan of theirs. I mean, theirs is just kind of eh. Like if we look at here, this is the jersey. $109 too for a jersey. That's crazy. This is their jersey for the city edition. This one to me is probably the most boring one of them all. I like the green, but other than that, this jersey is just like I could have just made this on some website and just made a jersey. So this, to be honest with you, is a jersey that I would definitely not be getting. Let's see if there's any other jerseys we got to talk about. Indiana. No. DC, again, another boring jersey. It just looks too plain to me. Looking at the Oklahoma City, or sorry, not Oklahoma City, the Washington Wizards, the nation's capital jersey. I'm not really a big fan of this jersey at all. It's just way too boring. I mean, the American flag on the side, it's not bad, but at the end of the day, it's still kind of a boring jersey, and I understand what they're trying to go for. But this, to be honest with you, is another top L, in my opinion. And let's see if we can find another jersey to look at. Wow, the Steven Adams jersey is already on sale. Oh, let's look at the Lakers. I think theirs is kind of interesting as well. Let's see here. View all teams. Oh, the Raptors. The Raptors. Let's look at the Raptors really quick. I'm not sure if they have a jersey or not. I don't think they've released their jerseys yet. Let me see if they've released their City Edition jerseys. I don't think that they've released their City Edition jersey. This is kind of the leaked image so far. I think these are just leaks of the jersey. And so, I don't know. What do we make of these jerseys? These ones are kind of more so kind of bland to me. Again, I think Toronto with the gold and black could have done a little bit better job. There are other teams that kind of did a better job with it. So I'm not a huge fan of this jersey. But it is an interesting looking one. I think that a lot of people are going to be looking at maybe getting it. Maybe they need to do an ode to Tampa Bay or something like that. But I am not a fan of those ones in my opinion. And let's kind of move on to another City Edition jersey that we can look at, of course, is going to be the LA Lakers. I think this is another one that we can look at. Let's see here. Lakers City Edition jersey. Okay, so it is this blue one. I mean, I understand the blue is part of their history, but I'm not sure if I am a big fan of it. I think, again, it's too plain. It's too boring. But I think that's just kind of when you have a brand like the Lakers or the Celtics, you just have to go for the boring. But I think that they could have done a much better job with these jerseys. I'm not really a big fan of them. So they're kind of a mid to me, in my opinion. Let's also look at, I think the Knicks have their jerseys as well. Pete, let me know what you think. Actually, no, this is, hang on. There is a website where I can get this from. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. This is the New York City Edition jersey. This one is also a no for me. I like the idea of it. I think the gradient is really cool, but at the end of the day, it's still kind of a boring logo kind of story. I do like the NYC logo of the check mark. I think that's really cool, but I'm not really a huge fan of this jersey in my opinion. I think all the jerseys have released now. So Toronto's is official. That's what it looks like. Not really a big fan. Cleveland's is Celtics is Kings. Dallas, Orlando, Minnesota, Milwaukee, Chicago, Oregon. Yeah, I think the Knicks were kind of playing it safe. They understand that there's not going to be a lot of ticket buyers, and obviously, with New York and their lockdown, they're probably not going to have fans anytime soon. So I'm sure that teams are not going to be willing to spend money on that type of jersey. Utah's is cool. The Lakers is always going to get some love. The Heat, I think it looks too much like tricks. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of everybody's jerseys. I mean, nah, I mean, they might be on that take care vibes. Let's see what they say about it. A Raptors jersey recently unveiled a redesign of their main uniform set, all of which say Raptors on the front rather than Toronto to lean into the status that they're the only Canadian team. Now introduced a Toronto jersey, just prepared to tip off the season, which they'll play home games in Tampa Bay. The jersey is fine. The timing couldn't be worse. Yeah, I would say that this jersey, like, I'm not really a big fan of it. I think it's too plain. It's too boring. I think they could have been a little bit more adventurous on it. But before we sign off, I just want to say thank you once again to everybody that's come to the channel that came through. Eoy, Tyrese, Supreme Gamer, Niner by Nature, Sean, Pete, Gabby, girlfriend, babe. Really appreciate you coming on here and kind of watching this channel grow. Really appreciate you guys coming in to check in with talking about Jersey, talking about Kyrie Irving, talking about Ben Simmons. Really appreciate the vibes here. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it here for the charge. Let me know in the comment section down below or in the live chat if you're still here, which NBA City Edition jersey is your favorite, and which ones would you rep that's not on your team? Or would you rep the City Edition jersey that your team has? I would love to know your guys' comments and opinions in the comment section down below, and also in the live chat if you are there. But anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you once again for joining me here on The Charge. Again, we will be live streaming Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, 3:35 to about 4:40, 4:35, depending on the situation at hand. And that's going to be my dedication to you guys. Once the regular season starts for high school, it might be a little bit different. We'll see if we can finagle some things around. Maybe we have to move the show during my basketball season. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it here for the channel. I will catch you guys later on. This week on Monday, we will be starting the show again, and I really appreciate everybody's love and support here on the channel. Again, guys, really want to stress home that we will be live Monday through Friday from 3:35 all the way to 4:40, talking some NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. And guys, get ready for the NBA season. It's coming quick. It's coming soon, and I can't wait to watch those games with you guys. Anyway, appreciate everyone that came through. I'll catch you guys on the next stream. Anyway, guys, catch you later. Peace. And also have a great weekend as well.